Hey everybody, this is Zach with Tanuki Games, and today we're taking a look at Dishonored 2 for the PS4. It was also released for the Xbox One and PC. I love stealth games, and the original Dishonored made a big splash with me. I love the superpowers that Corvo can use, possessing a rat to crawl through a vent, or using Blink to teleport to a higher vantage point, all felt empowering while never feeling overpowered. The fact that you can be a killing machine 1 minute and a ghost the next, with both playstyles having equal challenge and opportunities, felt like a game open to player choice and exploration. As Corvo, I never felt gimped by one playstyle, nor did I feel funneled down a certain path. Coupled with the excellent level design and art direction, Dishonored showed real franchise potential. When I heard that Dishonored 2 was coming out, I was fucking hype. Emily and Corvo are both playable in the game, with different power sets. Once reviews started coming in, the most common critique of the game was that it was more of the same. It had many of the gameplay features from the first game, the graphics didn't improve drastically, and the story was similar to the original's Tale of Vengeance. As I played Dishonored 2, I agreed with most of these observations. However, Dishonored 2 is such a well-designed game that none of these criticisms amount to much to me. Let's start with story. The story of Dishonored 2 starts out with you choosing Emily or Corvo at the beginning of the game as Delilah deposes Emily from her throne as the Queen of Dunwall. Delilah has the same supernatural powers that Corvo has as well, meaning that she must be tapping into the same power source, the Outsider. Delilah turns Corvo or Emily into stone, depending on who you choose, and imprisons the other. You need to save Corvo or Emily and take back Dunwall's sovereignty. The game then takes you out of Dunwall, the drab, industrial, London-inspired city, to Karnaca, Corvo's birthplace. The setting of Karnaca is a breath of fresh air into the series. If Dunwall is a northern European industrial city, then Karnaca is a Mediterranean port town. The light is bright and saturated, large wooden structures accent the stone architecture. The weather is more varied as well. It too is riddled with plague and malfeasance though. While Karnaca is a new area in the world, it feels just as based in the reality of the world of Dishonored. While Corvo and Emily's stories follow similar paths, the game contextualizes them in different ways. When Emily talks to the phantom of Jessamine Caldwin, the queen who was assassinated in the first game, it feels totally different than when Corvo is talking to her. This is due to the fact that Jessamine is Emily's mother and Corvo was her lover. The nuts and bolts of the story are good, and it does change based on your choices as you progress. Much like the first Dishonored, your choice to kill or not will impact how you are perceived in the world. This is the chaos system from the first game, with some minor tweaks. The more you kill, the more plagues that are spread, and the higher the chaos. The levels are self-contained, and so is the narrative. It never feels like the story arches over the levels. This feels much more like a Hitman game to me in structure. You get a target, you eliminate them, the story moves on. I do like getting more information about Corvo's past in Karnaca though. The biggest issue with the story for me was the final act. At the end of the original Dishonored, the story made you want to save Emily at any cost, and there was some question if you could even do it. Dishonored 2's story doesn't get you very invested in the ending. Defeating Delilah doesn't feel cathartic at all. Let's be honest though, not many people play Dishonored for the story. Gameplay is king in this series, and there are no disappointments here. The gameplay in Dishonored 2 is refined in many ways over its predecessor. Your abilities as Corvo are improved, but not drastically different. However, Emily's power set has some surprises. She has many unique abilities, and even comparable skills are different. Emily's reach is basically Corvo's blink ability. When Emily does reach, it feels more like you're being pulled rather than teleporting. It's great that you get a new character to play, and she is so different from the established gameplay style. As much as powers impact gameplay, so do the environments. Much like the original game, the level design here is outstanding. I love all the different ways that you can approach each level. Their non-linear open design lets you pace yourself and try to find shortcuts and alternative routes. Also, the variety in mood of each level is impressive. From shimmering vistas to gritty dungeons, Dishonored 2 has a lot to offer the player in terms of setting. Two outstanding levels include a trippy mechanical mansion and some time-traveling stealth. The mechanical mansion is run by a man named Jindosh, who's essentially the Sokolov of Karnaka. And this level is a labyrinth. Each room has false walls and optical illusions. The level tries to confuse you and where you're going. You can get behind the illusion as well and travel between rooms, ducking under gears and levers to get to your target. The time traveling level was a joy to play. You come to an old, dilapidated mansion. You can go back and forth from past to present, and each time period has its own routes as well as enemies. I'm surprised that no other stealth game, to my knowledge, has played with this idea of time travel. Both levels show off just how much good is left in the design philosophy of Dishonored. The hand-to-hand combat has received the least amount of new shine. The enemies in the game are challenging, and the AI is quite good at finding you. Much like the original game, crowd control is difficult, so you don't want to get surrounded. All of the playstyles in Dishonored 2 are equally viable. You can play the game and never be seen. Be seen and escape. Be seen and fight. Never fight anyone. Kill everyone. All of which is up to you at any time. The stealth and action are in a rare state of equilibrium that many games can't achieve. Dishonored 2's soundtrack is great. It's moody, tense, and Victorian. I enjoy how immersive it feels. There are a lot of stringed instruments throughout it. There is a constant movement to the pieces that feel very engaging. Sound-wise, the game sounds great. While I enjoy the audio cues that help you to know if you've been spotted or if one of your victims has been found, I do find it difficult to place where enemies are in the environment. When you're looking around a corner, you never quite know if the enemy is there or not. Rarely does it result into a bad outcome though. The voice acting in Dishonored 2 is excellent. All of the guards are well voiced, and even some of the things that they say are genuinely funny. That, coupled with all the great voice work for the main cast, makes Dishonored 2 a joy to listen to. The biggest change to the voice work is that Corvo is now voiced. He's no longer a silent protagonist. I like the actor that was chosen for the role. He's very gruff and fitting for the character, I think. The graphics in Dishonored 2 are probably the most mixed bag of the package. When the original Dishonored came out, I thought that it looked gorgeous, and it still does. The series has an oil painting-like quality to the visuals, which I enjoy. However, Dishonored 2's engine may be showing age or some signs of growing pains. I'm not sure. I noticed a lot more aliasing issues in this game from its predecessor. There was also some significant pop-in. This may be fixed in later updates though, and it's not a deal breaker. The lighting is especially good in Dishonored 2. From the shadow play to the ways the sun reflects off of objects, all look great. There aren't a lot of particle effects, but Dishonored 2 maintains all of the hallmarks of the first game's aesthetics. Very few assets were reused in the game, but the look and feel of the world is still intact. Again, the phenomenal character design and art are still there. All of the characters are unique looking and have their own personal touches. There are some excellent paintings in the game as well, which are nice to look at as you creep through the halls. Dishonored 2's mileage is going to vary from person to person. If you love the original, you will adore Dishonored 2. It feels like a direct sequel to the first game from both a story standpoint as well as graphically and even the design philosophy. If you played the original game and were lukewarm on it, this will not convince you otherwise. There isn't enough new here to warrant the skeptical to come back to Dunwall. If you never played the original Dishonored, get this game. Dishonored 2 comes with a lot of content. You can play the game with Emily or Corvo. There are playthroughs for no powers, no kills, and of course you can try to not be seen for the entire game as well. With all of the experimentation you can do with your powers and weapons, folks are going to be finding some pretty crazy stuff in the years to come. Dishonored 2 also comes with the original Dishonored Game of the Year edition bundled in. That's a huge bang for your buck. I spent $30 for my copy, and it feels like a great deal. I also never played the DLC for Dishonored, so I'm looking forward to doing that. Between the original game, all the collectibles, and the 3 or 4 playthroughs that you'll need to 100% Dishonored 2, which I plan to do, there's plenty to keep you busy. Dishonored, as a franchise, gave the stealth genre a shot in the arm with excellent and varied gameplay. The world and graphics fit perfectly, and all of the things that were great about the original can be said about its sequel. The game looks great, plays great, and you, the player, are not having your hand held the entire time. If you've played the original Dishonored, what are your thoughts about the sequel? Did it satisfy you, or did it feel like a rehash? If you haven't played the original Dishonored, how does it look to you? And would you be willing to play Dishonored 2 even if you haven't played the original? This is Zach with Tanuki Games. Please remember that a like, a comment, or subscribe means a lot to me and, of course, the channel. Enjoy.